George, the homicide happened just back here. As you can see, there is police tape preventing us from getting any closer. We're told there is another victim who was taken to the hospital and is being treated. That's right, George, and it'll really only take you 5 minutes to do this, maybe a little more if it's this windy. You want to make sure there's a clear 3-foot radius surrounding the fire hydrant and a path to the street. One thing we do know for sure is that Zagata shot Price 3 times. Now, whether that was as a form of self-defense or he had the intent to kill her, that is the question. There are ways to check an ATM before you use it. First, make sure everything is in place and nothing is loose, especially where you insert your card, because most skimming devices are installed here. She says when she started about 2.5 years ago, she never got calls to drop people off at the hospital. But today, she does. This slope in Carbon County is the first one open in all of Pennsylvania. You didn't have meth in your house that the baby got a hold of?
Nope. And I don't even understand how my baby got a hold of cocaine when she was born either.
He was shot at least 5 times with 2 different guns. Some electric cars can go up to 200 miles before they need to recharge, but others can only go about 50 miles. And sometimes finding these stations is pretty tough. It was a scary moment. I drove through the southbound tunnel about 6:15, unaware that all of this had happened just minutes beforehand. When I got about halfway through the tunnel, I saw all sorts of electrical wires just dangling from the ceiling. She walked out and she stood right here reading out loud the names of the 17 students who were murdered a month ago on Valentine's Day. Neighbors are just devastated. This house actually has 4 different apartments inside of it. The first victim was found just behind me. He was in the basement. The Penn East pipeline is now awaiting approval before construction can begin, and a windmill turbine site is proposed in Penn Forest Township. These projects have caused major reaction from residents living near the project sites. We have breaking news tonight. A Carbon County woman is being charged with murdering her mother at their Palmerton home. A dispute between a Boy Scout who was asked to leave his Boy Scout troop is really what sparked all of this. We spoke with a local Scout executive who says the Boy Scouts really focus on serving the whole family. School board president Larry Wittig is accused of pursuing several teens he coached back in the 70s and has admitted to a 1.5-year long relationship with a 17-year-old girl. News 13's Brittany Michaels joins us now live with details. Brittany. Monroe County men are given a stern warning about human trafficking today. Detectives set up false ads for escorts in Stroudsburg and waited for the calls to come in. It's an old adage, but very true. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And the Carbon County Environmental Education Center is putting out a plea for any gift cards you can't use or simply don't want. A fiery Monday night crash on Interstate 380 near Mount Pocono leaves 2 teens dead. Now police are investigating if Facebook Live is to blame. A Northern Lehigh teacher is accused of possessing child porn. According to court documents, state police connected a Yahoo account that was uploading images to Jonathan Dufresne of Walnutport. A Carbon County man is arrested for running a marijuana growing operation inside a Monroe County private community.
Well, the Midnight told us the best team in the cheer industry is the one everybody is chasing here, the Brandon Black. Here's Ashley Dyer.
Bryce, with Brandon All-Star Senior Black last year, your team won the Triple Crown, and now you're in contention to win again. How does it feel?
It's awesome. It's a great feeling.
George, we do have new information tonight. The victims have been identified as 64-year-old Joseph Molnar and 62-year-old Melinda Molnar. Officials did confirm Joseph Molnar and the suspect were cousins. When police arrived on scene last night at around 6:30, they found Joseph Molnar's body in the front lawn. Tonight, the Northampton County coroner confirmed he was shot at least 5 times with 2 different guns. Melinda Molnar was taken to the hospital with very serious injuries.
Based upon the investigation at the present time, it is my understanding, and this will have to be pursued in more detail. It may have involved financial issues, but it certainly was not something that just was a spur of the moment. There was some kind of ongoing problem between the cousins.
Police searched Hand's Bushkill Township home this morning. A few hours later, Hand was spotted in a black pickup truck near the intersection of Oakland and Hecktown Roads in Bethlehem Township. Today, Lehigh Township Police are still on scene at the Longacre home where the murder happened. Laura Carney lives across the street and says there's never been gunshots in her neighborhood before.
I did hear the gunshots, and they were real close. I just thought right away somebody got shot. I don't know why I thought that, but I did.
Carney says she immediately locked up her house and stayed inside. Multiple shots. Did you hear a couple?
Yeah. I'd say, what I remember, I'd say 4 or 5 shots that I heard.
Han was just arraigned via video from the Northampton County Jail. He's charged with homicide and attempted homicide, but other charges are pending. Live in Northampton County, Ashley Dyer, News 13. Marie, back to you. George, that's right, and the jury's being selected here in Chester County as an attempt to find an unbiased jury pool. Attorneys say they're looking for fairness in this trial.
We are very happy that this process is underway. It's been over 2 years now. We look forward to selecting a fair and impartial jury in this matter, bringing them back to Pike County and seeking justice in this case.
Eric Freen looked relaxed this morning as jury selection began. Over 1,200 people were summoned as jurors, but only 12 of them will decide Freen's fate. Pike County District Attorney Ray Tonkin is seeking the death penalty. We spoke with Freen's attorneys today who tell us his family is worried.
They're the parents. So, how would you feel? This is just, they're nervous. As a parent, I'd be nervous too.
Today, 300 jurors were summoned, but only 104 of them showed up. The judge explained the trial process, asking them multiple questions. One of them, who here is familiar with Eric Freen? In response, over 75% of the jurors stood. Both attorneys say they expected this due to the high profile of the case. Day 2 of jury selection starts tomorrow. We'll be following the process and we'll keep you up to date. Live in Chester County, Ashley Dyer, News 13, George. We're all Eagles fans here at TV 13, but I think their #1 fan lives in Walnutport for sure. During the football season, every Sunday of James's life has been spent watching football and, more importantly, rooting for the Eagles. He says watching them in the Super Bowl has been on both he and his mom's bucket list their entire lives.
The Eagles became a big part of who we were.
In this house, they bleed green.
Go Eagles!
All the way down to the littlest members. For someone who doesn't understand the connection James and his mom have with the Eagles, you may think a $15,000 loan to go to the Super Bowl sounds absurd. But for the mother-son duo, it goes deeper than football.
You have a crappy week at work or, whatever the case is. But when it comes to Sunday, the Eagles were on, football was on, that became a family event. Touchdown! Didn't matter how busy our weeks were. My mom works 80 hours a week. It didn't matter. Sundays were our day that we sat down together and we watched football.
Each of these bad boys cost about $5 grand.
When they said on the phone we got the tickets, I just yelled. I'll treasure it for the rest of my life.
Their flights to Minnesota cost another $1,000 each, and hotels were also a huge expense. But James says they'll be able to pay everything off within 3 years.
The Super Bowl is my Disneyland. For me, football is what we do. It's been a part of my life since I was young, and I can't wait. I really can't.
When quarterback Carson Wentz got hurt and everyone began doubting the Eagles, Becky Herring says she stayed positive.
They're a team. It's not just one-sided, like one person or two people to score. I knew they could do it, and they're going to do it.
Every year we go to an Eagles game. This year we get to make it a little better, go to the Super Bowl.
The Eagles play the Patriots in Super Bowl 52 this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. in Minnesota. James and his mom Becky flew out of Philly this morning. Here's a look at their flight.
Fly, Eagles, fly, for a touchdown, 1, 2, 3, high, and fly, Eagles, fly, fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory, E-A-G-L-E-S-E-O!
So awesome, right? James told me there was actually 7 Patriots fans on that flight, but there was about 370 Eagles fans.
Wow, I bet they felt outnumbered. I wonder if it was that way the whole way there.
Yeah, they were probably hiding in their seats.
Probably. One big party on the plane, though, right?
News 13's Ashley Dyer shares the story of one nominee who made it her mission to beat cancer and help those around her beat it too.
I like her a billion times more than anything, and I like my dad the same amount too.
Love you.
Lena Lobach's daughter Ella is 6 and an only child.
I'm one of 10 children. Yeah, the youngest. So having one wasn't part of my plan. My plan was to have 3. That was always my big number. I want to have 3 kids.
Little did they know, as Lena and Brian tried to expand their family, her body was in crisis mode.
By January, I had miscarried, which, you know, I always believe everything happens for a reason.
She was diagnosed with stage 3 bladder cancer in August of 2016.
The whole world stopped, you know, so these are words that you never expect to hear in your life.
The doctor was like, this is not the news I was expecting to give you. And I could hear him talking, but I just felt like I went mute.
The typical person diagnosed with bladder cancer is in their mid-60s. Lena was 41.
I just sat there and I'm like, this can't be happening. This, you know, they told me this can't be happening. I'm too young.
From that moment, it was a whirlwind.
The first day was obviously tough, and that was probably the only time I saw her cry.
Lena did 9 doses of chemo to stop the cancer from growing.
Her chemo treatments were long. It was from 8:30 in the morning until 4 o'clock at night. She would take the time to talk to other patients, get to know the nurses, keep people's spirits up, you know, tell people who are sitting next to her in the chair, hey, you can do this.
At times, it was debilitating.
To be sitting on this couch and watching the world keep moving, and I wasn't, it was tough.
But Lena kept it positive. Check out these goofy chemo selfies. Her family was her biggest support system.
I told her fight cancer because, like, I didn't want her to die because cancer can do that. And it's just that I really didn't want her to die because she was my mom.
Doctors removed Lena's bladder in November.
You know, I'm listening and I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna pee? But really all I care about now is that I'm here with my family.
Lena and Brian have made it their mission moving forward to help others fighting cancer. If you're going through the battle and need words of encouragement, the Lobachs are there.
She gives me the best hugs and kisses. That's what I really think she's good at, but the rest she's pretty good at too. And I also she also makes the best dinner.
Lena is now cancer-free and back to making the best dinners. Ashley Dyer, News 13.